Thomas! It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Youri.
Champions.
Good afternoon, happy lunchtime, whatever it is you're doing. This is the Arsenal Lounge afternoon special. Thought we'd do another one just to catch up with all the news and just find out how everything's progressing and how you guys are feeling and how Shaheen's feeling. So before we go on to you guys, first I'm going to say hello to my boy, and the board is back in town. Shaheen, how you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Yeah, everything is good. Arsenal making news today, which is good to see. But before we start, I just want to thank everybody who's commented on our previous videos, who's liked the videos. Especially, I want to ask, there's I think 3 or 4 people that they made a donation after we've done the video. So they clicked on this icon at the bottom and they made a super chat and they thanked us for that. So thank you to them as well who's made a donation. And I just want to thank especially everybody who commented on the video that I've done with Mo. There was a couple of people who came and wrote silly comments, but apart from that, most of the comments was actually quite reasonable and it was good.
Can I ask what the silly comments were, Shaheen?
I don't remember. One of them was like, "Oh, Shaheen is super negative," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever." But everybody else, they could see the different point of views, and that's what I like to see. And that's what I like about our followers and our subs, because they don't just come and write negative. They can see different point of views, and they were polite about it. So thank you to everybody who commented on those.
Well, I'm just looking at some of the comments. Yeah, I couldn't help myself. If Shaheen wasn't miserable, says the robots will eat you. If Shaheen wasn't miserable, he wouldn't be Shaheen. He's literally the Eeyore of the group. Do you know what that means? You might not be familiar.
I don't really care anyway.
No, but you might not be familiar as to who Eeyore is. But like in, do you know Winnie the Pooh? Do you know the character, cartoon Winnie the Pooh? It didn't have that in Iran. Well, those of you who know about Winnie the Pooh.
My age is a bit older than that.
It's nothing to do with age. It's a classic storybook, man.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I don't know, and I'm not really bothered. So, do you want to move on to the transfer windows?
Right, touchy.
Yeah,
it's right when you lot are
really
laughing at me, isn't it? Laughing at me. Oh, Liv's, Liv's had to pay and blah blah blah. You do videos about that.
No, but there was nothing negative. I didn't say anything about that.
It's funny that we've blown the whole budget of the channel on it. That's that done. But anyway, listen, yeah, we're here to talk about the transfer rumors. Obviously, that little video that you
this is one.
did.
Can I just say something?
You asked me to get on with it, and then you cut me off.
Sorry, man. No, I just wanted to say. Can I? Will you allow me to say something? Is that all right with you?
Go on, like I'll keep. It's me that's in.
No, I'm asking permission. I'm being nice about it, man.
You don't need permission, bro. You don't need permission. We just.
He is one of the guys who always comments on our videos. Sometimes he does not necessarily agree with me, but he's always nice and polite about it. So thank you, Hugh, for your comments. Sorry, Lev, go on.
Is that what you cut me off for Hugh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm glad you lot have got that sorted. Anyway, so the reason we wanted to have this show is obviously just to catch up with things, because there's a lot of talk about transfer window. You had that little video with Mo. Mo was extremely positive with things. You a little bit. I wouldn't say, in your defense, Shaheen, yeah, I wouldn't say you was negative. I know you better than most, and I actually think you got some points in that conversation that you had with Mo. Mo's obviously, as a character, he tries to be as positive as possible. As a fan, so do I, but sometimes it's difficult, as you know. I think you've got a bit more of a level head. Now, looking at this transfer window so far, it looks like we've got Jesus being confirmed. He's over here in London now, apparently about to attend the medical. That seems to be done and dusted. We've obviously got Vieira in. We know about that. But the names, other names in the pot at the moment being mentioned, Martinez from Ajax, left back, centre back, and he can play DM. Some seem to think he's the answer to the DM issue, which we'll go on to that in a bit as to your points as to why you're still a bit skeptical. And then obviously Raphinha is the other name that's being mentioned, and Tielemans is still sort of floating around. But where I wanted to go with this is, although the names that we've been linked with are really, really positive, and everyone seems to be really positive about the window, and a lot of people are bragging on their socials like we've actually acquired these guys, as it stands at the moment, we've only got Vieira confirmed out of the new names, obviously not the previous guys that have been coming in. I think Trusty's the other one and one or two others. But if we're focusing on the names currently in this window, Vieira's been signed and looking like Jesus is about to be confirmed. But the others are still just hypothetical. Raphinha has a lot of suitors for that position. He can still end up with Barcelona. The Martinez one still hasn't been confirmed. We know United are in for him. So as it stands, it's not the exciting window that everyone is saying at this point. The names are exciting, but the names have not been confirmed. So what your point in that little clip that we posted from the event the other day is saying, Shaheen, correct me if I'm wrong, is if we address central midfield and don't leave ourselves one injury away from reverting back to the likes of El Neni and Xhaka in centre midfield. So again, if Partey gets injured, do we have the right type of cover? And also, as it stands, and I agree with you on this point, if we get in Jesus, but then Jesus gets injured, then we're still reverting back to the likes of Eddie Nketiah, who we still have extreme doubts as his capabilities at top level. Am I right in saying that? Is that what you were sort of trying to get across? You was tired that night, I know, but...
It was about 12 o'clock, way past my bedtime. And I'll tell you something. If you want to engage, if you want to get involved and engage in a debate and an argument with Mo, you need to be on top form. On top form, because it's not an easy task. But no, it's basically what Mo was saying is he was saying he's got confidence in Arsenal getting a left back, getting another centre forward on top of Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah, and getting a midfielder. And I said, I don't think they will do that. I don't have confidence that they will do that. Arsenal have let us down time and time again on transfer window, and I don't have confidence in them addressing the real issues. The real issues, one, Thomas Partey replacement, still not addressed. Two, Kieran Tierney replacement, still not addressed. Three, getting a decent strike force, firepower. Now, we're signing Gabriel Jesus today. So he's passed his medical at London Colney.
How do you feel about that signing, by the way?
I like that. You know, there's a lot of things I like about this transfer window. About this transfer. One, they're getting him early doors. So he's now going to join in with the team in pre-season. He's going to settle in. Two, Premier League proven. Three, he's a winner. He's won things with Man City. Four, he's really good at pressing from top. And, you know, there are good things, and he makes us better going forward, which is not hard, you know. But the other issue is, as you know, what if he goes through a dry patch? What if he gets injured? Then you're back with Eddie Nketiah. What if we're playing a game that's, you know, playing Jesus up front is not working, and you need something different? You need a different type of striker. You don't have that. You know, you still got Eddie Nketiah coming in. And I know people coming out, Eddie deserves a chance. Oh, let's give him a chance. Let's this and that. I have not seen enough of Eddie Nketiah for me to be convinced that he's going to come in next season. He's going to score 15, 16 goals. You know, I hope he does. But I have not seen enough to see or to believe that that's what will happen. So there's a lot of things about this transfer of Gabriel Jesus that I like. And it makes us better, but we need more. And those two other areas that I discussed, still, there's been no movement on that. I know we linked with Martinez, but, you know, he's coming in as what? A cover for Kieran Tierney, a cover for Partey, a centre-back. Which one? I'd rather us go out and get a proper, like a left-back for Fiorentina or get a defensive midfield specialist for Partey. Lately there's been no talk of Tielemans either. So we potentially could start our season with the same midfielders last season: Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at some of the comments in the chat as we speak. I mean, one that stood out for me, Vishal says, honestly, we have the most cover at centre-back at the moment. Xhaka, Partey, Lokonga, Elneny, Aziz possibly. Aziz isn't even in the first team at the moment, so even looking at him. Then he's gone on to White and Vieira. Now, come on. We need he said we need a right forward and a left-back cover over everything else. Now, if you look at last season, Vishal, and thank you for your comments, but if you look at last season, that clearly wasn't the case, was it? Because we still had Xhaka, Lokonga and Elneny in centre midfield, and when Partey got injured, we were found wanting. So it's all well and good having lots of cover, but if that cover isn't of the quality required, we're not talking about left back or something you can get away with for with a bit of support. We're talking about the engine room. So I would have rather had moved on Xhaka and moved on Elneny and got two better replacements in. And that's all we're saying. We're not being difficult. Now the one that everyone seems to be referring to when we were asking about why we didn't look at Bissouma is people were starting to suggest that the reason we're looking at Martinez is because he can play left back, he can play left centre back, and he has the ability to play defensive midfield. However, he's not his first position, so we don't know exactly what's going on. But if it's true, I could live with that if he is seeing him as a fix in that defensive midfield should we get an injury. However, I don't know. Jury's up in the air with that, and I still feel like we don't have the quality up front if Jesus was injured. Now, if we get Raphinha, it kind of makes a bit of sense because it's a bit more clout going forward. But right now, as it stands, guys, it's just transfer windows. The only two we have in officially, and even Jesus ain't official yet, it's about to be, but the only two we have officially right now is Vieira, Turner, and potentially Jesus. The rest are just rumour mills. So you can't sit there and get too excited just yet. Fitz, thank you for your support, bro. 449. Good window so far, but if we do not get a quality DM, then none of it will make a true difference because Elneny is bang average and Xhaka is shy. And that's the point we're trying to make, Fitz. Thank you for that. It's all well and good relying on a cover, but let's just say Partey gets injured for, say, 2 or 3 months. Do you want to rely on average for 2 or 3 months? How many points is that going to cost us? That is the question. There's a few other people throwing in questions in here as well, Shaheen. Why not?
Do you want to go through them like last 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, we'll save the questions, otherwise we won't carry on with the show.
We've signed a backup keeper. So
Turner.
Turner. So I think that's a clear indication that Leno is now off. How much we can get for him and that is a different thing. We're not particularly good at selling players. So we've got Marquinhos as well, which is a very, very young lad coming in. I don't think he's just coming in with an idea of contributing this season, But yeah, it's Fabio Vieira will sign as well. So as we said, right now we're linked with a lot of things. We've spent 45 million on Jesus, 3 million on Marquinhos. That's 48, right? And then we spend how much on Vieira?
It was about 35, 32, between 32 and 35 from what I remember.
So let's say 32. So that's 80 million pounds spent so far, right? So they're looking at how much for Martinez?
Yeah, apparently we've come in with a 40 euro bid and they were asking for...
That's about 35, 34 million. So let's say 34. So if we do sign Martinez, that's 114 million pounds spent. Okay, and that's not considering the potential incoming money from player sales. So then that will leave you with, if you want to get the likes of Tielemans, you got to pay another 30 million pounds, 25, 30 million there. If you want to get a Thomas Partey replacement, I would love someone like Ndidi to come in as a backup for Thomas Partey, but obviously I don't think he will come in as a backup here. So you got to ask the question as well, that how much money do Arsenal actually have? And I know you're doing a show with Mo and Mike where we're going to discuss all these finances and how much money potentially do we have and where does it come from, etc. So, 118 million pounds potentially will be spent, will address the issue of a covered left back, but still the Thomas Partey issue will not be addressed. And Thomas Partey, look, you got to look at it as well. When he was in Atletico, impeccable injury record. Since he's come to Arsenal, his injury record is not great. So you know you're going to have a period next season where he's not going to be fit. And in order for you to avoid that or make that period as small as possible, you need to rotate him. And if you're going to rotate him quite a lot, who's going to come in as a replacement? As we speak, it will be El Neni.
Well, this is what we were asking for from Arsenal, wasn't it? To have more foresight rather than look back at things in hindsight like we did last season when we failed to strengthen in January. Always suggesting, and we're not being unreasonable here as fans, is always suggesting is make sure you have the quality of cover that's required and make sure you learn from last season. You've already didn't have strength in depth when you started last season in that role. Then you got found out when he did get injured, what happened. So why would you go back into this season with the same issues in centre mid? That's all we're saying. But look, it's positive the names that are being mentioned. We're not being negative. But what we are doing is we're looking at it logically and realistically right now. And the others are just names. We started this season being told, this window being told that Tielemans was number one priority. Everyone was saying it. We're not going in for Bissouma because Tielemans is number one priority. Then we go and get Vieira. Then suddenly, people in here are mentioning, Vieira can play centre. Come on now. If Partey gets injured, have you seen Vieira's physicality? Would you want him in that centre midfield position? No, you wouldn't. You need somebody next to him. So let's be honest here. If Partey was to get injured, you only have El Neni, Lokonga, and Xhaka. Now, I say only because Lokonga has proven over a sustained period that he's not quite ready yet. Although I think he'd be third for me, second backup, should we say? I don't like falling back on El Neni. I don't like falling back on Xhaka. I would have liked to have somebody more, on a par with Bissouma, or someone like that pushing Partey all the way, and he will know that if he gets injured, one, he'll be covered, but two, he could potentially lose his position, and that's what you want. And Eddie Nketiah, for me, I don't understand the hype. 5 years, he's been given a contract. Some say it's to protect his value. But then if he has a poor season or two, are you protecting value? Or will anyone actually pay for him on the level that we've paid? They're things we need to look at. But as it stands right now, we need centre mid cover. Now, what I'm asking is this, and I'd like to ask you guys in the chat. Do you think that we're looking at Martinez because he can cover three positions? What are we bringing him in for potentially? Because it's not like we have a shortage of centre-backs unless, Holding's going to go out, but then Saliba, if Holding's going out, Saliba's coming in. So what is the idea of bringing in Martinez? Is it that he covers three positions? Let us know in the chats. Shaheen,
yeah,
what's your thoughts on this whole situation with Martinez then? Do you think that's what the deal is? Because that's what we're being told by everybody.
Listen, again, it's one of those things that I don't know a lot about the guy, right? But from what you see or what's available on internet and YouTube, seems like I would say he's more of a left back than a centre back or defensive midfielder just because of his height. But apparently,
right?
Yeah, but listen, it doesn't mean if you rip it up in a Dutch league that you're going to come and be exactly that in English league. There was Brighton signed an Iranian guy from one of these Dutch leagues. He was a top scorer on a Dutch league, for 2 seasons on a row. Went to Brighton, didn't work out. Last season they sold him back to Dutch league, started scoring again. I'm not saying that's going to be the case. These are the reasons that I want Arsenal to sign somebody from the Premier League, because you're already 2 or 3 steps ahead of a signing that is not there. But it seems like a decent player. if we're going to sign, my thing is, if you're going to sign a backup for Kirantini, sign a backup for a proper left back for Kirantini, go out there and get a proper defensive midfielder for Thomas Partey. If you sign a player and let's say he's covering for Kirantini and then Partey gets injured in the same time as well, then you still again back to square one. And there's a lot of games to be played next season. You've got Europa League, FA Cup, Premier League. So I think there is room for quality player to come in and get game time. I agree with you 100% on Eddie Nketiah. I know there was a lot of debate about that, and I think Ian Wright contributed to a tweet which I think was uncalled for and ridiculous. But for me, a lot of people are banking a lot on Eddie Nketiah based on 4 or 5 games. Now remember, these goals that Eddie Nketiah scored, 2 against Chelsea, 2 against Leeds, 1 against Everton. Nothing against Tottenham, nothing against Newcastle. The other games played nothing. And those 2 games were the games that we needed to win. And he didn't really influence those games that much. So you need to look at Eddie Nketiah's time at Arsenal as a whole, not just 4 or 5 games. No. Because if Eddie Nketiah next season does not do the job that people think he will do, those people will be the first people to get on his back.
No, listen, I agree. I want him to do well. Don't get me wrong. A couple of people in the chat's rightly saying, look, it's a long window. Yeah, it is. And look, we're not saying that we're not looking at centre midfielders. Hopefully we are. What we are saying is if we're not, it would be a mistake. Some people, it's the one that divides the fan base still, because people get accused of being negative if you don't agree with certain things, or if you don't agree with what we're doing and who we're going for. It's not negative, it's opinion, right? Now, in my opinion, we suffered last season with centre mid. If we don't go for a centre midfielder, if we got Tielemans, for example, although he's not a specific cover for Partey, it would make me feel a little bit more comfortable because he's a bit more industrious, energetic. He has got the ability to sit back a bit more if you need him to, if you do have an injury. So look, and Lynn Simpson, thank you for watching, by the way, and your constant support, is saying we're also looking at Fofana, which again, listen, all I'm saying is if we've got a player of that ilk, it would make me feel more comfortable. And those who are saying we've got Eddie as backup, I'm sorry, but I would rather someone a bit more proven as backup. Someone that could take Jesus' role,
Eddie's not going to be backup, man. There's going to be a lot of games next season. FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Europa League, Premier League. Jesus is not going to play all of those. And at some point you will start relying on Eddie Nketiah, especially if he gets injured or something, right? And then you're going to have a problem. I see a lot of people asking questions and making comments, this and that on the chat. On the last 20 minutes of the show, we're going to give you opportunity to ask us questions or whatever you want to ask. So hold your questions and ask us then. And I will respond to everything, and I'm sure Lev would as well. But again, there's still a long time left and for them to address this issue. But I just sometimes feel, Lev, if you're not going in the same direction as everybody else is going on Twitter or social media, i.e. you're over the moon with Nketiah's contract, you're astonished about Gabriel Jesus and Fabio Vieira. If you're not in those camp, you're negative, you don't know much about football, or you're not a proper fan, Whereas, I'm entitled to a view. You are. Everybody else is entitled to a view. And my view is when the season closed, I didn't really say, right, listen, we need to find an attacking midfielder. I said we need to find a proper backup left back, proper backup for Thomas Partey, maybe a proper, like a number 8 to play next to Thomas Partey, and 2 really good strikers. Fabio Vieira, fine, great. Seems like a decent player, comes in, great, but there's no point having Vieira and then 3-4 games in the season, Partey gets injured, El Neni comes in. You're going to have El Neni, Xhaka and Vieira, or El Neni, Vieira and Odegaard, because I don't really see this Vieira guy as a proper number 8. I think he's coming in to be rotated with Odegaard. So there's still a long time left. You know, we're not saying Arsenal are, you know, they're poor, they're this. We'll reserve that for once the window is closed and we'll see how they're done. But every time we'll make a comment is based on the things we've seen so far. Again, raphinha, a lot of money that needs to be spent on raphinha. But, yeah, great. Guy comes in, Premier League, fine. Still does not address the real issues.
No, I agree. And, you know,
people in the comments, yeah, making comments like this, it's ridiculous, man. Sort it out, Tom.
No one's criticizing Tom, but like at the end of the day, we can analyze and we can have opinion. That's not criticizing. We're not saying it's a bad window. What we are actually saying is a lot of the names that have been mentioned, that everyone's getting excited about, only really two of them have been confirmed at this stage. Raphinha is still dragging on. We don't know if that is actually going to happen. You know, we don't know if we're going to bring in anybody else, you know, attacking wise, centre mid as well. I still think we're short in that area. You guys can have your opinion on that. But look, even at centre forward, look, when before the window started, we actually said this, Shaheen, didn't we? We would get 2 midfielders in and get 2 out, right? We said we would have another defensive midfielder of the ilk of Partey and someone a bit more dynamic like Tielemans box to box, yeah? We said we needed 2, right? At the moment, as it stands, we don't have either of those, right? We said striker-wise, we also needed 2. One to replace Aubameyang with goals and another as a sort of a different type of midfield centre forward. For example, Scamacca was one they were looking at. I would rather a Scamacca type if Jesus isn't working, or maybe if you're playing away and you want to be a bit more sort of careful and maybe sort of go long sometimes, Scamacca type player would have been better. I don't think Eddie is a hold up sort of back to goal type centre forward that can hold the ball. I mean, he's improved. Don't get me wrong. I still think he's more of a poacher. So for me, we're lacking that type of centre forward, and I would have been preferring Eddie as third backup rather than, you know, the second option. It's as simple as that. And right now, centre midfield, we still got the old school. Apart from Partey in there, we still got Xhaka and El Neni. Lokonga, I agree, has immense talent, but it might still be a bit too early for him. It just might, you know. So why take risks? And what we've done recently is we've taken risks. But let's look at the positives here. We've got Vieira in, and I like Vieira as a signing. And the reason I like him, looking at his statistics, looking at his strengths, is that we did struggle with teams that sat back against us a little bit and soaked up pressure and, you know, sprung on us, like a Spurs, for example. They would soak it up and spring on us. Now, Vieira has something else that maybe a lot of our players don't. He has the ability to unlock with a pass in crowded areas, tight areas. He's got very tidy, quick feet, low center of gravity. I think he brings something different that we need in. So I'm not upset about that signing, but I want to see us hit the right areas and make sure they're the very best we can get in those areas. Now, also, I do like the idea of Jesus. I think he's going to be far better than people think. Some people are saying, no, look, he hasn't scored over 20 goals in a season, but he was not ever a focal point as centre forward. You know, the way City play, it's a little bit different to everybody else. I think as a focal point with the right players behind him, he is more than capable of getting 20 a season. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does. You know, he's a good finisher. I've looked at some of the old sort of interviews with Pep, who says he's one of the best in the world at pressing. So I'm not unhappy about Jesus. I just want something a little bit different with him. Jason's saying he didn't get a notification. Maybe put your notifications on. I don't know, bro. But let us know if there's any problems at your end. But yeah, what do you think about what Tom's saying about us being negative and all that sort of thing?
I think he put a comment.
Did he? Oh, here we go. What did he say? Hey, I was just telling you why you're being called negative. I don't think... Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Shaheen. And Tom did... people in the chats as well asking where Tom was on Friday. He was there. But as Shaheen said, he had a curfew and had to leave at 10 o'clock. Is that right, Shaheen?
Yeah. he had to leave early. But to be fair to him, he had to travel far, so...
Yeah, he did. He had to go to Kent. But thanks. It was a great meeting you, by the way. Look, so let us know in the chats. who would you go for? And currently, what do you rate the window out of 10? Because the one little thing that's niggling me a little bit is there's a lot of hype by our fans about our transfer window so far, right? And I even saw the likes of Jamie O'Hara saying he was upset that we'd signed Jesus, right? But I don't really care what Jamie O'Hara thinks. I think he's clueless anyway. So I'm not going to go on what he has to say. But let us know what you think the window is currently. Is it as hyped and is it as great as socials are seemingly making it out to be? Because right now, as far as I can see, Jesus is confirmed, Vieira is confirmed. Obviously, we got Martinez. We had a few others that were sort of sorted in America and one or two others. But the ones that are talking about the raphinhas of this world, the midfield issue, the Martinez is still up in the air and still could go elsewhere. So what do you rate the window based on that? Shaheen, we're half an hour in. Let us know when you want to do the questions, yeah?
Yeah, whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I don't think we're going to do an hour. There's not really much to cover other than what we've already seen so far. So I don't mind going into the questions if you want to. So Isham saying Raphinha won't come. He's also called Jesus a City reject. Now, do you know how good you have to be to get into that City team, Isham? I mean, like, I'd love to do a show one day on the average fan who calls a professional players shit. Oh, I'm going to say the word. I know it's before watershed, but most of us wouldn't even be able to kick the ball as well as them. And you're sitting there calling someone shit, especially for playing for City. Really? Come on now. Like, let's see what's being said here. Lynn is saying, I think, Lev, that is why they have gone after Raphinha, because he'll be able to link up with Jesus. And at this moment in time, Saka is in dire need of competition. Yes, he is. Lynn, thank you for that. He's also in need of rest I think we'd get more out of him. I think he's been waning the last few months when I saw him. I think he's burnt out a little bit. So, that's something we'll have to look at. Let's see what else is being said here.
Yeah, guys, do you want to write your questions in the comments and then we'll try to address as many.
This isn't a question. But currently, Vishal rates the window 6 out of 10. I think that's fair. If we sign Raphinha, Martinez, Tielemans, bloody hell, these other names, Ruiz, Milinkovic, Savic, that's a 10-10. Yeah, well, bonus if we sign an extra. So it's a 10-10, but then it's a bonus if we sign a striker like the Skamaka. Interesting. But at least he's being a bit more sort of level-headed in some aspects. DV asks a question. Realistically, he's asking, name a top striker who would be willing to come in as a backup. Good question. Shaheen, I'll put this over to you because I'm the one reading it out.
No, if you get... you can answer as well, but if you get a decent striker to come in, something different to Gabriel Jesus, I think they will get game time because for me, Eddie Nketiah will be third choice. And there's Europa League, there's FA Cup, League Cup, Premier League. So there's a lot of games, that can be shared between the guys.
Can I ask a question? I'll ask you guys in the chat as well. This is an interesting one. I haven't really thought it through properly yet, but it did get me thinking when I looked at the messages and the socials over the last day or two. Do you think Liverpool's, now he's not Liverpool anymore, Origi is better than Eddie Nketiah?
That's a tough one, but...
And listen, every time he's come on in crucial games for them, he
yeah,
scores. Champions League, he's done it at all levels. Massive. Now, people here are saying Origi is shit, yeah? Right? There's some people saying that. Some are saying, yes, he is better. What I'm asking, where I'm getting at is, for example, would he have been a better backup when you needed a goal than Eddie Nketiah? Or would he have been a better backup in general?
Yeah, you'd have to say yes. Because he's done it more than Eddie Nketiah. And what I mean by that is he's played in more important matches. He's played more games for Liverpool. He's played at top level, Champions League finals, semi-finals. I would say yes. If you're looking at the bench, you want Eddie Nketiah to come in on Origi.
It's a
I would
tough
say
one. Isn't
Origi.
it? I only threw it out there because it's tough. I don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
no,
I'm
no. I
not
would say
saying we should
Origi is
have got
better,
Origi.
but by not a lot. You know, so you couldn't say, oh, he's clear of Eddie Nketiah. No.
Okay, but so I think personally, as it stands, you can't argue that Origi has played at far higher levels than Eddie Nketiah. Oh, obviously he's been exposed to that, so it's However, if Origi is arguably better than Eddie Nketiah, right? If he's
Yeah.
arguably better, what does that say about our current backup? Because
Well, we
to
already
me,
know that it's not great.
I don't even. I think it's wrong to call another striker that we want a backup. I don't want a backup. I want another solution. You know, I want somebody that is a better fit for another type of game. You know, like say for example, you need somebody who can hold it up. You're playing away in Europe, and you need somebody with physicality, and you can go long and you'll hold it up for you. Give the rest of your midfield time to come in and join the play, and you know that sort of thing. That isn't Jesus, and that isn't Eddie Nketiah. So who does that role for us? What I'm saying is, I wanted somebody almost strangely enough, almost like a Giroud type.
Yeah.
No,
Because
like,
that is something different.
it's something different. You know, so this is what we're getting at. I just want to see the right players brought in, and that is it. Let's see some questions here. Let's have a look. There's loads of them in here, but we've lost them all. There is one. Neil Gunner asks, would you take Weghorst from Burnley towards...
No.
Fucking hell, Neil. I would have to say no on that one as well. I see where you're going with it, but that isn't for me. Damien Suku, who claims he found the oil earlier on. I don't know what you're talking about there. Question: do you think if we get Raphinha, we might sell Saka because he might not sign a new contract?
No,
I'll say no.
So.
No, definitely not. You know what? What I like about our guys in our chat here, a lot of people are being really level-headed. They are saying the window potentially is good, but they're also saying, right now it is just potential. The socks guy question: is the 5 subs rule a good thing or a bad thing in your opinion, Shaheen?
Sorry, so again, I was just reading someone's comment there.
Oh, it's so good to see you engaging in our show.
No, I was just reading someone's comment.
Is the 5 subs rule a good thing or a bad thing in your opinion?
No, it's a good thing because that means you can make more changes. So if things are not working out, instead of 3 subs, you got 5, so you can change more things in a football field. Depends how a manager will use it. So yeah, I'd say it's a good thing.
Okay. Anti-stupid, not vax, and I love that tag, by the way. That's a bit of me, that. I'll ask the question. How does Eddie score against Spurs and Newcastle with no service? Well, it's funny you asked that question. I mean, I hear where you're going with it, but then how does Aubameyang score with no service? How does Lacazette score with no service? This is not a team, the team was set up in this way. We do agree it did lack some vision. It did lack somebody to unlock a pass in the final third, which is, I think, why we're going for Vieira. But you could argue the case in most of our centre forwards then that have been and gone, that they didn't have the adequate service. But then again, I've also seen the likes of Lacazette and Aubameyang and Nketiah miss some real sitters as well over the course of the season. So,
Another thing, Lev, I would say to that is, on those 2 games, how did he influence the game? Yeah, okay, you're not getting service. And then what are you doing about it? How are you, influencing the game? How are you making an impact?
Exactly. And it's also the way you set up. Hold on. Any more questions? Keep the questions coming, guys. If you want to ask more questions, now is the time to ask them. Nick Paris, who's doing a cheeky login at work. I hope you don't get sacked, bro. And I hope the person who's your boss is not watching the Arsenal Lounge. Maybe he is. And if he is, let him off. Get Ivan Tony, he asks. You see, this Tony one's been going around for a little while. What's your thoughts on that, Shaheen?
His goal scoring record has not been that great, right? But we're talking about something different, and he is that exactly.
Listen,
so,
if we had got Jesus and Tony, would you have been complaining?
No.
That there you go, and that's what we're saying. Like, we're not sure on Tony 100%, but he's had a great season.
Another thing with him is, you know, that the time that the video came out of him is with some girl and they're saying, "Oh, fuck Brentford, this and that." Yeah. I don't really see Arteta as the type of manager that would tolerate anything like that at all, and that would be another train crash there, you know, right there. So I think that would probably be one of the things.
This is a really good question here by Dean. How you doing, bro? You good? Love the picture with your little one there. Got the same hairstyle as me in that pic as well. Shaheen and Lev, who, in brackets, give names, do you want to see come in that would make your window a perfect one? I don't think anyone could ever have a perfect window, but it's a strong question. I'll start with you, Shaheen. And my dog's driving me mad. I think he wants me to let him into my...
Who do I want to see that will make it perfect transfer window? Well, just one player.
No, whoever. What would you want?
I think if we can go and get somebody like Ndidi, because he can play next to Thomas Partey, and I think he can play as a defensive midfielder. And somebody like Scamacca. I think if I see those two coming in, I'll be a lot more happy about the business that has been done, because Ndidi will make him feel our midfield a lot better, and Scamacca is exactly what we're talking about, something different to those to Eddie and Gabriel Jesus.
Okay. I mean, I like the idea of another DM. We've already said that. So someone like an Ndidi would be a pretty decent. Someone of that ilk. And people are laughing, but you know what? To do that DM type role, it's not that it's not that difficult to find that type of player, especially if it's a backup, right? So at the end of the day, people are laughing at Ndidi. I think that's a great, he's a good option. And people say 2 DMs, that's too negative.
No
one's suggesting use them both every game.
No, even if you do, Lev, if you've got the likes of Vieira, Odegaard, Saka, Jesus, or even Raphinha if he comes in, right? What's wrong with saying you've got 2 strong midfielders, right? That will sit and you lot go do your thing with freedom, because you know you got backup. And people who come up with this bullshit, yeah, you need to remember Gilberto Silva and Patrick Vieira played next to each other, right? And that was a really, really strong and successful midfield partnership.
Listen,
you can argue they're both defensive.
I don't understand this idea of will he play backup question either, because why should it be backup? If you want to play top level football and you want to play for big clubs, you should be confident in your own ability to go and challenge for that position, right? And at the end of the day, there are players who want to take the next level up as well, so they wouldn't see it as, oh, I'm going in as backup. They might be a little bit younger than Partey. Partey's 27, 28. They might be 24, 23, or 25, and they might think to themselves, well, I can take over that position. We also play in 4 different competitions. So, of course, he's going to play games. So don't sit there going, who would he come as backup? I don't understand the reluctance for competition in this team. Why? And then people are also using this stupid example was we don't play with 2 DMs. So what happens when Partey gets injured then? What if you go away? What if you go away to Europe?
Listen, sometimes people just write comments because they want to write comment and say something different and say, you don't know nothing about what you're talking about. I know. What's wrong? Yeah, look, Ndidi and Partey next to each other. That is a really, really good midfield. What's wrong with having those 2 sitting there, and then you got the likes of Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Raphinha, whoever that is playing in that, in the top 4. Tell them, listen, don't worry about the defensive responsibility as much. Gives them a bit of freedom. Go do your thing. Don't forget one thing. Arsene Wenger was really good, and those old Arsenal teams that were the likes of Bergkamp, Perez, Henry, was that they had freedom to go and express themselves. Something we don't have now.
I'm seeing some shocking comments in the chat, right?
Yeah,
And when I say shocking, in the sense of we don't play with two DMs or we don't play this formation, get a grip, right? You can't just play one way all season. You might come across a team who could counteract everything you have, and you might have to change the way you play. You might go to Europe, a very tough away game in Europe, and think to yourself, you know what? We just don't lose this game. Here's a prime example. We were fighting for top four, right? We go away to White Hart Lane. Had we the option to play two DMs, yeah, and just stifle the game and come away with a point, that would have been a better option than what we did at White Hart Lane, where we played to their strengths, got picked off, and lost. Right? So don't sit there being so rigid with your mentality, thinking we don't play this way, we only play this way, because that is not modern football. You have to adapt to everyone that you play against. And some teams do things better than you do. So then you have to find another way. Or sometimes you just got to go away and just grind out a result. You can't always play the way you want to play. So for me, I think ridiculous that you sit there saying, oh, hold on. Oh, is it backup? Well, stop making excuses. Right? At least just tell me I don't want another defensive midfielder, but stop making excuses. Had we had two DMs last season that were worthy, one party and another, we would have made top four. So why are you sitting there now telling me that we don't need one? I don't understand that mentality.
yeah. As I said to you, sometimes people comment for the sake of commenting and just disagreeing with whatever it is you're saying, and I just ignore them. I see the comments, but ignore them because this, if you're so narrow-minded that you think, oh no, it's we don't do two defensive midfielders at all. We need to do this and that, the other. But then you guys are the same type of person who said Xhaka and Partey is really good. It works. You can argue that Granit Xhaka has been a defensive midfielder. Thomas Partey has been a defensive midfielder. Granit Xhaka was certainly bought as a defensive midfielder.
I mean, look, by these guys' mentalities, anyone in midfield that has got defensive capabilities, Vieira and Petit was a great example, right? Look at it this way. If Vieira got injured, you would have relied on Petit to play more the Vieira role. Or if Petit got injured, you could have still relied on somebody, Vieira had that intelligence to say, oh, I'm going to step back a little bit more. Or, someone else could have done it. We had the players to be able to do that. Right now, as it stands, Xhaka is not mobile enough in that central midfield position. He's already proven that over a 6-year period. We have not finished higher than 5th with both Xhaka and El Neni in centre midfield. Those are the facts. You should have other options. You shouldn't have just one option. The Eddie Nketiah Jesus, for me, they're not two perfect options. You've got one who's really good at what he does in Jesus and one who's still learning his craft and yet to prove himself through an entire season. Some are saying he needs a chance. I'm just not sure we should be putting all our eggs in that Nketiah basket. But there you go. Shaheen, we've been going for like 50 minutes. Bit longer than I expected on this one. But anything else you want to bring in?
Man, just, there's still some time left. So there's still time for Arsenal to address things. I'm not sure how much money is left for them to address things, because if you go sign someone like Raphinha, that's another chunk of your money that you need to spend. So hopefully they will get the players that is needed, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But so far, still issues need to be addressed, and I'm happy and I'm pleased with someone like Jesus coming in and making a contribution.
There's one here. Look, EPL India, right? That's 2 DMs against Tottenham was Burnley's way and they lost. Brighton, Southampton and Wolves went there and played possession football and won. Also, you're still stuck in 2000s. It's 2020. Why are we stuck in 2000s? Weird. That is just so weird. And you're comparing Burnley, and I swear Burnley took a point off Spurs. I swear they did last season. I swear that Spurs beat Man United and then went and dropped 2 points to Burnley. So you're telling me that Burnley played possession football and out-possessed Spurs. Is that what you're saying? EPL India. Because if that's what you're saying, I think you're watching, I don't know, championship football in 2000.
I'm just I've just had a quick look at Instagram, right? Arsenal have just put out a tweet, all or nothing Arsenal.
Yep.
So they put a thing out for it.
It's coming out soon, isn't it?
Yeah, but listen, it's going to be interesting, but I don't think people would learn what they want to learn, or people would see what they're hoping to see from this, because I think Arsenal would heavily influence what is going to be put out there. And we all know Arsenal is a type of club that don't like to be criticised at all, and they don't take criticism well. So I don't think there's going to be anything in there that would...
This is a brilliant question, by the way. That's why I thought I'd bring this back. Football Values TV. I haven't seen your channel, bro. If you've got one, drop us a link. We'd love to have a look at it. Question, Levin Shaheen. Would you prefer we didn't go for Raphinha and got two set of... This is a really, really tough but good question.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Would you really?
Yeah. I think we can do with not having Raphinha. You know, it's not going to affect us that much, because you already got Saka, who's been your player of the season, that can play in that position. You know, don't forget, we still got Nicolas Pepe as well. You know, maybe
he's gone. You see,
there's going to be some, there's some arguments that he may be sold. So, but the two midfielders would make our midfield, you know, on a condition that we get the right midfielders, will make our midfield a lot more stronger. And I'm sure you agree with me that having a strong midfield is a lot more important than having a good out wide player.
Listen, I really want Raphinha. Right, I think he will make a huge difference to our team, in the sense of, look, if we do have Eddie Nketiah as backup, you still got somebody who is dangerous, in the sense that he's got physicality, but he can beat players for fun. He's direct. It means he'll pull out centre backs out of position. He'll make defenders very, very uncertain, and that gives more space for the likes of Odegaard and Saka and Smith Rowe and whoever's playing, Martinelli's, to find space, to make runs.
This is a good question, Lev, this one.
Hold on, I haven't answered this question yet. So at the end of the day, I really want Raphinha, but if I had to have a choice between Raphinha and the likes of, I don't know, like a Bissouma type and a Tielemans, I'd probably go for that. But I don't see it happening, and I do, as I said before, I do really want Raphinha in. Socks guy.
What do you think about this?
Top 4.
Yeah, I think, look, if you add up what Mikel Arteta has spent since he's been at Arsenal, right? And if you want to add the contracts and the value of the players that we've kind of written off during his time here and got rid of, if you add all of that, it will come to a considerable amount of money, right? And there is no more excuse with Mikel Arteta. There is not this excuse that, he's learning on the job. There's no excuse that, he's doing this, he's doing, he's learning, he needs to be backed. He needs to, none of that. There is no more excuse this season. As you said, minimum is top 4, minimum.
Minimum, yeah. ALB Gooner has said, Pepe is a much better player than Raphinha. Well, I'll have to say, I can't really agree with that, ALB Gooner. I mean, Raphinha's been in the Premier League for how many seasons now? And he's proven in the Premier League. He's got a far better final ball and finish, in my opinion. He's more consistent. I'd have to disagree with you on that one, bro. I'm sorry. Looks like Sheen's taking a very important call here. I think he's discussing last minute. Yeah, he's discussing last minute transfers. Yeah, who we getting for next season? Shaheen? Is Mo coming back next season? Is Tom, we're cancelling his contract? I don't know. Anyway, we're only joking. It looks like we're coming up to the last 5 minutes.
Sorry,
yeah, that's all right, bro. It's just a show going on. Don't worry about it. But look, yeah, Lynn rightly says Pepe loses the ball too much, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what game you've been watching. Don't get me wrong. He has immense talent, but it's just not happened for him here. Whether it's under Arteta's management or whatever. You can make as many excuses as you want, but this is who he has as manager. And if he can't work under him, and this is who Arsenal are choosing to use, then we're going to have to move him on. You know what? 75 million, and we're going to write off 50. But I always look back at Harry Maguire at 80 million and see what Man United could shift him for now, just to make myself feel a little bit better. Going back to that original question as well that was asked, what would make it a good window for me? I want to see another centre midfielder in. I would be happy with Raphinha coming in, and ideally, I want another centre forward, but that's not going to happen. So Raphinha coming in and Martinez coming in, the names that we've seen mentioned in the news, if we secure those and a centre midfielder, then I'll be happy. But that's about it.
Okay. Let's hope that we'll do that.
Yeah, well, let's hope. You know, this is what we're saying. I think people were looking at your video from the other day and jumped on the bandwagon of negativity straight away. And I know you was tired that night, so I just wanted to set the record straight. This is what we're saying. What we're saying is, it's good that we're out there doing business. It's good that we're being linked with these good names, you know, and as long as we get them. But as it stands, only 2 of those names that have been floated around recently, other than Vieira, that come out of nowhere, only 2 seem to be confirmed. Raphinha is up in the air. Martinez is up in the air. Tielemans is suddenly gone quiet. For me, we need another centre midfielder. So I'm going to hold my judgment on the window. The signs are positive. But until it happens, I'm not going to do what everyone else is doing in the socials and going crazy about how other teams are jealous about our window right now, because it's not over till, you know, the slightly overweight lady sings, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So that's that. Let's see what happens. So on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up. CM, please, says Jason. Yeah. Oh, King Salt. King say, let's get King one more question. Isn't Raphinha exactly what we need last year? We finished 13 in open goal 13 in open goal creativity. We don't have a senior winger with X Factor. We still need Martinez and Tielemans. That would make me glad. Totally agree with you on that one, bro. And thank you for agreeing with us. We have got shows coming up soon. We finally, I think I still need to speak to Mike, have nailed down this financial reveal show with based around the Cronkies and how much they've spent at Arsenal, how much they've actually spent. So that's going to be coming soon. We're going to be looking at the transfers, obviously, and anything that's worthy will come on, and you know, we'll have a chat about it. Let us know in the comments if there's any shows you would like us to cover, any particular subject matters that we haven't covered. Because let's be honest, you know, it's the transfer window time. Nothing really else going on. So we're always up for something new as a content. So let us know if you think there's anything you'd like us to cover. And that's it. Shaheen, anything you want to say to these guys before we go?
Just thank you very much for everybody in the comment. Subscribe, obviously, if you're new. Make sure you comment, let us know, and hit the like. There's not enough like on this video.
How many have we got?
We've got about 76.
We've at one point we had about 250 people in here, 76 likes. If you can get the likes up for us, we'll continue doing these at lunchtime. You know, every time there's a bit of news, not every lunchtime. I was like, hold on, let's have a look at this. These guys want no criticism, but do only that to Arsenal. First in, last time here. See you later. Yeah, let me help you. Let me get you on your way, actually. Should we just block him? There you go. Let's just block him, Shaheen. Yeah, like, no one's forcing you to be here, bro. Like, see you later. You're gone. So that's it. Yeah, someone's saying, come on, do every lunchtime. Only if you throw in a sandwich every lunchtime. But that's about it, guys. Let us know in the chats what you think of the window so far. Let us know, if there's any content you want us to cover. Rate the window. Let us know your thoughts on players you'd like to see come in. Enjoy the EPL in India and all that jazz. And I'm out of here. Shaheen,
See you
out
guys.
of here. See you later, loungers.